again, guys. Today I wanted to do a quick tour and show you the dash and instrument panel on the current truck that we're driving. The model of truck that we drive is called a Freightliner M2112 Business Class. It's a 40-foot straight truck with a single axle. And I did a truck tour several months back. It was probably one of our first videos, so it's probably almost, I don't know, 8 months old. And it was one of my first videos, and it's not that great. So I may eventually do another whole truck tour just to be a little better quality. But when I did that video, I didn't show you the dash or instrument panel for the truck. So I want to do that now just to kind of show you what we have here in the truck. So right now it is daytime out. I have our cab curtain up just to kind of keep the glare from the outside out so you can see the buttons a little better as I go through them and show you. So I want to start here with the main display of the dash. And as you'll see here, we've got an air pressure gauge here. What this is the air pressure for our rear suspension. Then we've got our oil pressure gauge. We have our water temperature gauge. We have our RPMs, and then we have our miles per hour. Also here, if I can get that without the glare, we've got, of course, our fuel gauge. And that also has a DEF gauge right here. We've got our primary and secondary air tanks. So this part is pretty simple. It's not real fancy. It doesn't have a lot of stuff. It does have an LCD display, shows our mileage. Then we have two gauges here. This top gauge actually shows the pressure when you're applying the brakes. It shows you the PSI, or the pressure you're applying when you apply the brakes. The one right below that here is actually, it's not on right now, but let's see if we can get that on to show you. What it shows is it shows the actual gear that you're in. So right now we're in neutral, so it has an N, and it's going to go through, whenever you're shifting gears, that's going to show you what gear you're in, or an R if you're in reverse. If we come over to the left side of the steering wheel here, we have some buttons down here, and basically these are just our headlight buttons and marker lights. So up is your headlights and marker lights, down is just your marker lights, and then if you put it in the middle, it's off. This button here is to increase or decrease the intensity of the lights on the dash. Of course, we have our turn signal and windshield wiper washer lever here. On the right side of the steering wheel, we have our transmission controls. In this truck, we have an Eaton 10-speed Ultra Shift transmission. This is the Smart Shift controller for that transmission. The type of transmission we have, it's an automatic. You can use it in automatic or manual mode. So that's what this controller is for. If you see here on the transmission, there's an auto and manual. We normally keep it in automatic or auto mode about 95% of the time, but there are certain times where we do use it in manual mode, and Jason's going to do a video on how this transmission actually works and when we use it and how we use it in manual mode. But it has a button. It goes switches from auto to manual, and you can do that there. It has, of course, your reverse, neutral, drive, and low gears. So with this transmission, unlike most four-wheelers that have a manual transmission where you have to actually physically push the clutch in to change gears, with this transmission, it has a clutch, but it does it for you. You don't physically push in a clutch with your foot. So that's how this transmission works. To manually change the gears of the transmission, if you look here, it has a shift up and shift down. If you wanted to shift up gears, you would pull it towards you. to shift down in gear as you push it away from you. And again, Jason's going to do a video and kind of show you that and show you how we use it. So moving along to the side of the dash, if you look down here, there's a button. I think we've talked about this before. This is not something that comes with the truck from Freightliner. This is an actual panic button that is put in by the carrier that we can push to alert them if there's anything wrong going on. You know, somebody's following us and we're on a secure load, anything like that. That's what that's for. So that doesn't come standard on the truck. So let's come over to this big instrument panel here in the center. So starting at the top, we'll go through each one of these buttons and I'll just kind of show you what each one is. So the first two buttons we have here, these two control your cruise control. So the first one here is to turn on and off your cruise control. The second one is to set your cruise control speed and to resume or accelerate or decelerate. Next to that, we have our mirror heat. You can turn that on and it does have heated mirrors. I use that a lot when it's raining. These mirrors on this truck, the rain just sticks to them. So I'll use that a lot for them. And it's also good, of course, if you're in colder temperatures and it's icy, things like that. Then here you've got your engine brake. Right now it's in the off position, which is in the middle. It has a high and a low. Then of course we have our radio. It does have a CD player. We don't use CDs. It does come with Sirius XM satellite, which that's what we keep it on all the time. 100% of the time it's on the Sirius radio. Down here we've got our shutdown override. Now what this does is if for some reason there's some problem with the engine and the truck is about to shut down, you can hit this button and that's going to override the truck shutting down. Say you're, right in the middle of somewhere, it's not a safe place. If your truck died, you don't want to be stuck right in the middle lane on a highway. So you could hit that override, get to a safe location, and then it'll shut down. Now, I don't know how long you actually have. If you push that button, we've never used it, but that's what that's for. Right next to that is our marker indicator light. And what that is basically if you push it, it just makes your marker lights flash on and off. We use that, to thank trucks or thank other drivers if they flash us to let us over. Next to that is the NRM Spin ATC button. What this is another button. We've never used it. It's a traction control button. So you could use this, say, if you're in a slippery condition such as ice or snow, you should be able to use that and it's going to help with your traction. Next to that is the engine fan button, and that basically just turns on and off your engine fan. Say if your truck is overheating, the fan's not kicking on, you should be able to push that and it'll kick it on. Next to that is your HSA override, and what that is, it's a hill start assist button. So basically, if you're parked on a hill, it's going to help prevent you from rolling back. Then we've got two optional buttons. This first one is not connected to anything. The second one is actually, we've labeled that ourselves so we knew which one it was, but it actually controls the light in the box, the inside light in the box in the back. Then this clock is just a clock we got from Walmart, I think, and it's Velcroed on there. That's something we put on there. Then coming down, we have our window controls up and down. This one's the driver's side, this is the passenger side. And then next to that, we've got our suspension height button. You've got up and down. And what that is for, that controls the height, the suspension in the back. So, for instance, we would use this if we are backing up to a dock that is much lower than the height of our box. We can push that to down. It will lower the box and the suspension, so we'll be more level with that. You could also use this, say you're coming up to a low clearance, it's kind of iffy. You could drop your back suspension to give you a little bit more clearance to get under that low clearance. Next to that, moving over, we have our regen button. What this is for is if you are parked and need to do a manual regen, you can push that. Actually, there's a couple other things you have to do to get it to work, but that's what that's for, to do a manual regen. Then next to that, we've got our parking brake. Since we are in a straight truck, we do only have one parking brake, whereas in a tractor trailer, you're usually going to have two. Then coming down here, we've got our power locks, lock and unlock. This little box here is not standard. This does not come from Freightliner. This goes with our Qualcomm and is put in by the carrier. Then we have two power outlets, 12-volt power outlets. One of them we use to connect our GPS. Then you also have a lighter. We don't use this. I just put this in just to show you what it comes with from Freightliner. But we use one for our GPS, and the other one we have a dual charger that we put our dash cam and a phone charger in. Then coming down, we have our AC heat controls, HVAC controls. That's pretty standard, self-explanatory. So that is pretty much it for the controls and buttons that we have. The last thing that I want to show you on the dash is, of course, with most all vehicles, you have more indicator lights than what's showing here. The truck is not on. I'm not going to start the truck, but I do want to turn the key just so you can see there's a bunch more indicator lights that do come on and go on and off. Of course, that engine light is not on once you crank the truck, but just so you can see, it does have an array of different lights and things, that warning lights that would come on if there's anything out of the ordinary on the truck. One more thing that I didn't mention, which is right over here. I don't know if you are going to be able to see this really good, but right here, this is a little button. It's a push button, and basically what this does is it's going to get you into the menu on this LCD display where you can reset your trip counter. There's several different things you can do there. But that is how you would go through the menu on your LCD display. One more thing I wanted to show you all is we do have power mirrors in the truck, and we have two mirrors. It is just the top mirror that is power. The bottom mirror is a manual adjustment, but to control or adjust the mirrors, we have a power button here. Basically works like any kind of vehicle. You've got this little switch that's either going to be for your driver or passenger side. You're going to put that to whichever side you want to adjust, and then of course you move your little lever right, left, up, or down, and that's going to adjust your mirror. One more thing I want to show you, we do have up here is we do have our map lights, which are red. There's one for the passenger, one for the driver, and then we have our regular reading lights right here. So that's a really quick tour to show you just some of the buttons and options that come on this truck. And you know, I'm sure there's a lot more options that you can get if you're purchasing your own and speccing out your own truck, but I just wanted to show you some of the things that come on there and what we have and use. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us, find us on Facebook, comment down below. We'll be happy to answer any of those for you. As always, thank you all so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, we'll see you in our next video. Peace, love, and expediting.